Welcome back to this 101st episode of this Let's Play of the original official campaign for Neverwinter Nights 2. We're kind of making our way to the end here. We've got the true names of the Shadow Reavers, we've got the Sword of Gith. All we need now is the Tome of Ithkazar so we can jump past the claimed lands, as they're called, and go strike at the King of Shadows. Now, supposedly, I guess we could have walked from the ruins of West Harbor, but I guess we need to know where we're going. And the claimed lands are not, I guess, a fun place, but I suppose it's not suicide. I mean, we didn't have much trouble while we were there. Anyway, we can talk to Penton about finding a new ore deposit. If you actually talk to Penton without any ore deposits found, he will try and turn on you. And depending on that conversation, you can actually get influence with Sand, or you can actually just kill him for betraying you for influence with Bishop. And I'm not too worried about my influence with either of them, so we're just going to head into the courtyard here and continue on. And Naval comes and greets us. And Amanjero has something to say too, of course. Apparently a Shadow Reaver is attacking Callum, who is another of the Neverwinter 9 who we dealt with earlier. And we're going to bring along, I'm just bringing along different people for the sake of bringing along different people. I have sort of a core group of Eleni, Grobnar, Cassavir, and Ziggy that I will use for just sort of unless otherwise specified, so I'm going to avoid using them. Though I do, since we are going to have to fight a Shadow Reaver, I am bringing Eleni along for immunity to knockdown. The one in the claimed lands doesn't do the stupid knockdown trick, fortunately.
I've dispatched your minions, fiend. You're alone. Face me!
You will die like all those in Highcliff, but I shall not soil myself with your blood.
Well, that's
What foul
inconvenient.
magic is this?
Self-resurrecting golems, of course.
Listening, really.
Sand has a trick that I will have eventually on my main character as well, which is persistent haste, which will get me around having to cast haste constantly. Yes. It's a nice convenience, but not... it's more or just convenience at this point. The really critical part of haste is getting its duration past 10 rounds or so. If it's shorter than that, you really... it's almost not worth casting. But I'll actually try out the Silver Sword of Gith just for, you know, the fun of it. I don't actually care for what it does. You can't actually save Callum in time, so just take your time to buff up here. I'm not going to really, you know, abuse the fact that we have infinite time, but, you know, I will bother to cast my usual buffs.
I am listening. Everyone follow me!
I also want to make sure that Eleni is immune to knockdown somehow.
Let me lead the way.
And we'll just start summoning our up an army of garbage.
Yes.
Wouldn't want to fight him alone, after all. I even had a scroll made for Jero. Jero has enough used magic device that he will be able to cast pretty much anything you want him to cast from scrolls, which is useful for this party since pretty much all of my spellcasters have Scribe Scroll. Well, I guess the Dino isn't hasted. Oh well. Callum's holding his own for now.
Captain, you must know that Highcliff is fallen. Tell Naval, we can't... Nasher! I failed!
You, my prey, was the cowards who fled the conquest of Highcliff, but you are an unexpected prize. The King of Shadows will reward me greatly for bringing your lifeless husk before him in the Vale.
Keep it occupied while I recite the name. It will take some time to recite it, so keep him at bay until I am finished.
Jawohl. And this is like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers of Blade Golems? What the hell? I mean, seriously. Anyway, let's play with some of the sword's abilities. It has this Blade Storm ability, which is more or less an attack spell. I say more or less because, well, it's not exactly a directed nuke. It has a couple other effects, none of which are particularly thrilling. Actually, I guess that I have my party members set to cast spells on their own, so maybe I won't even have to, well, let's just see what they cast. And it does okay damage, but not great. The other thing you can do with it is you can cut short any of the most of the abilities on the Silver Sword of Gith. Sort of, you cast them and they will use the blade, and sort of while they're active you can't do anything else with the blade, which is really kind of annoying since I actually do intend to whack things with the blade. It's not a very good, just if you were just going to use it as a basic weapon, it's not very good. It's not awful, but it's not very good. And I'm actually going to have Eleni step back a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't think I actually have any healing spells memorized on her, so I'm just going to have her healing kit herself. The other abilities, Blade Barrier essentially hits everything near you. Again, I guess if you were casting spells in the middle of melee, it would be good. And Shard Hail is essentially just a direct nuke. It's not great, it's not awful. It does okay damage. It does maybe, 15 to 20 damage total. But honestly, compared to just killing the thing with my main weapon, it's horribly ineffective. Alright, now that we're at just fighting this guy alone, I'm gonna have Jero start reading. And apparently, Quara and Sand do not consider this guy worthy of actually using spells on, so I'm going to have to manually tell them to waste spells. This is sort of annoying, but go on. Again, the Shadow Reaver is completely immune to damage at this point, so it's just... Well, he's not immune to damage, he just doesn't die until his name is read. Oh, get on with it, Jero.
I arrived too late to help you, and Callum as well, it seems. This war has cost us much, and it is not yet over.
Great camera work there, and now you've got Jero's head in the frame. Good job. I would fire the cameraman in the instant.
You are right, Captain. It is a difficult thing to lose such a friend, but your words make the burden easier. But why was Callum here? He was tasked with holding Highcliff. A Reaver falls, and so does Highcliff. It seems no matter what our victories, the King of Shadows' influence grows. I must bear this news to Lord Nasher. We will need to ready the Neverwinter forces to march on Highcliff. But before we commit our soldiers, Crossroad Keep must be prepared. Make whatever preparation you need at your keep. Then speak to me when all is ready for the army to march on Highcliff.
It seems the Shadow Reaver has granted us a boon. With its death, we have the tome it held, the Tome of Iltkazar.
May I see it? My, I never thought to actually look upon it. This is an amazing find. We should take it to Algernon at once. He can help me... us. Unlock its secrets.
And you also get... I forget what this ring is. I don't think it's very useful. But this golem's blade is... I mean, it's kind of amusing, but it's, again, just not good in comparison to what else you have. And it's another full ring of power. I'll figure out who to give it to later. Handing the tome into Algernon was really kind of anticlimactic. He gives you 500 XP, and he apparently was notified by Grobnar ahead of time. But if you talk to him now, he just says, "I'm working on it, go away." I'm actually going to go in and out of the keep until Kana has something new to say and just finish up with the keep administration, but most of that I'll do off-screen.
The war gets closer to home every day. Some local lords are conscripting farmers to serve in the war.
That is exactly the reason why the Grey Cloaks were formed. Reliance on an untrained militia was part of the reason the Luskins overwhelmed us with ease.
The King of Shadows has amassed a great army. I think the lords believe that they need every available hand to counter this threat. The Grey Cloaks and Knights may not be enough alone.
Untrained farmers are generally used as shock troops. Casualties are high, and their effectiveness debatable.
Do you wish to conscript troops from the farmers?
Considering that we have more Grey Cloaks than I think you're actually supposed to have, I'm not going to bother to conscript anyone.
I hope we won't need these men later. War is a brutal beast, not to be faced by the faint of heart.
Some tactics can cost you as much in victory as in defeat, though, Kana.
Why don't you want to conscript men?
And you can give the good answer of, you know, not throwing away your people, you're supposed to be protecting them. We'll try, more or less we'll buy Catriona's argument that they don't really do very much, and, well, just getting people killed.
I see your point.
I don't want to actually be at 100/100, you know, just a personal thing. We are at 80% time passed, and we have, well, we're getting close to 2,000 Grey Cloaks. The number of recruits here is suspicious, and I'm wondering if there's a cap at there, which is an unusual number for a cap. Well, this is awkward. We're at 100% completion for the keep, but it looks like the special mission is not going to be completed. Oh well, we have 2,600 Grey Cloaks, we have almost as many merchants as peasants, which is kind of disturbing, actually. I don't know how that works. You know, too many chiefs, not enough engines. But, oh well. I think that's about all the time we're going to have for this episode. Next time, we're going to talk to Naval and besiege Highcliffe. So, I'll see you then.